Last game of the 2023 calendar year as the Green Bay Packers fly up to Minnesota and take on their NFC North rival here. Send us out in the 2023 year, this Week 17 matchup with major playoff implications on the line. Brian and I are going to break down this game and give our predictions. But before we do that, real quickly, we are trying to get to 2,333 subscribers. So please forgive me for fumbling over my words and help us out in getting to that subscriber goal. We're about 80 away. And Ryan, let's get into this game here. Packers and Vikings are both 7-8, and both are on the outside looking in. They cannot win the NFC North. Lions have locked that up. And if you just look at the overall breakdown right now, Vikings are over the Falcons, and the Falcons are over the Packers here. But they both need some help to get into the playoff here. And one thing they can do to help themselves out is win this game. What are the objectives for both the Packers and the Vikings here?
Yeah, I think the Packers, they need to start playing a little bit better defense. They gave up 30 to the Panthers last week, and that's the most the Panthers have scored all year, or the second most. I think they put up like 30 again against Seattle in like week 4 when Andy Dalton was playing. But anyways, to me, they have to come out and really stymie this defense. They might get a gift for Christmas, a late gift. And Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson looked like they both went down to a high ankle sprain, and TJ Hawkinson looked like he had a pretty significant knee injury. The outlook for him is not good, according to reports. They don't have any official information yet, but that's just kind of what the team has been saying, is that the outlook is not good. And yeah, they haven't been super solid the last few weeks. They gave up over 30 to the Bucs, and then they gave up 24 to a New York Giants team that just you should not be giving up 24 to. And so that for me, they have to play better defense. I think this offense with Jordan Love and these weapons have been clicking. However, they've been completely different without Christian Watson on the field, and he's been battling a hamstring injury. He missed last week as well. And we'll see if he's able to return for New Year's Eve. And then for the Vikings, I mean, the big thing for me is I think you look at some situations like Nick Mullins made a few key mistakes in that Bengals loss last week. And then I think he made a couple more key mistakes this week. And I just don't think you can have that if you're going to beat the Packers. I think you need to play good, mistake-free football. And with that, I think Kevin O'Connell, the coaching staff, managing risks and making sure that you're putting Nick Mullins in good situations, giving him some easier reads, especially at the beginning of the game, let him get in a little bit of a rhythm. Justin Jefferson is healthy, and so he definitely will have a little bit of a binky there in his top receiver. But again, one guy can't do it all. And so KJ Osborne, Alexander Madison will have to step up, I think, and play bigger parts in this game if they're really going to want to win. Good news is this is a division opponent. They know these guys really, really well. And we'll have to see what they're able to kind of scheme up for this Packers defense. So,
yeah. So, the last time we saw these two teams play, there was a Kirk Cousins injury, but that was even the Vikings had actually continued to kind of keep playing, and they were showing that overall team improvement from there. But the Packers have also improved from that game as well, because that was kind of the lowest of the low, I would say, for the Packers. But both teams are battling some major injuries, and I agree with you completely when it comes to Christian Watson and this Packers offense. When we saw them start to click and really start to see them improve, as he was healthy, but then he pulled his hamstring again, so we'll have to monitor his status as well. And that, to me, then also looks like Jaden Reed is banged up as well, and also Dontavian Wicks got hurt in the game also. And I'm just wondering, like, what type of weapons do they have for this game? Well, the Vikings, yes, they had the backup quarterback in Nick Mullins, but you're right, they do still have Justin Jefferson. Nick Mullins is still a very experienced quarterback in the league. He has been around the block and has honestly put up some decent numbers over these past couple of weeks when he has been playing, all things considered. And so I just look at when it comes to overall playmakers, the Vikings have that edge overall. I think it's going to be very interesting then when it comes to the running game, as well as the Packers have given up some of the most rushing yards on the season so far. Well, the Vikings have one of the worst rushing offenses in the league, just in general. And so whoever can kind of win that battle, it will be very interesting because if the Packers are able to continue to stymie the run and the Vikings can't run the ball at all, very Justin Jefferson heavy and reliant in that matter. While if they are able to run the ball, it's going to open things up entirely for that Vikings offense and take a lot of pressure off Nick Mullins, as you stated earlier. So it's going to be interesting here for the Packers. I think as awful as it is that Jordan Addison and T.J. Hockenson might not play, I think that not having Christian Watson and if Jaden Reed also doesn't play and Dontavian Wicks, that is going to be a huge loss for that team because that is their overall weapons. Even when Justin Jefferson was out, you still at least had Jordan Addison, who was having a really good season, T.J. Hockenson, which is one of the best tight ends in the league, K.J. Osborne as well, who he doesn't have the numbers, but when they needed him to perform, he has performed. I mean, he's had some great games, and he's a great number 3 receiver, probably the best number 3 receiver in the league because he can step up and have games like he's the number 1 receiver. So you have the game plan for him as well. And the Packers just don't have that. And so that's where they do have Jair Alexander on the defensive side of the ball. He'll be paired up against Justin Jefferson. But even then, though, Jefferson's still going to get his fair share of targets and catches and probably will have over 100 yards receiving. It's just going to be how can the Packers put up points? Because I still feel Nick Mullins, he's done a couple weeks in a row now. He's gotten them to the mid-20s and overall points with mistakes as well. So if he can't keep up, if he can't minimize those mistakes, it's going to be interesting to see how the Packers are able to keep up with the Vikings in this game. So let's go on to predictions here. But before we do that, as I mentioned, Ryan and I, we are trying to get 2,333 subscribers. We're about 80 away, so help us reach our goal. It's the easiest way to do it is to subscribe to the channel and also like this video and leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win. Ryan, who do you think is going to win this game, the final game of the 2023 calendar year?
So I'm going to put a bit of a stipulation on my prediction here. So I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings unless Christian Watson and Jaden Reed play. Because if those two guys play, I think this Packers offense will be solid. This Vikings defense, they get after the passer really well, but I think the Packers will be able to kind of scheme up some things to get around that and really put this secondary in a bit of a bind. And if those two guys play, this Packers offense has been performing really, really well. But if those guys don't play, I don't see how the Packers move the ball because this running offense for the Packers is not that good. And frankly, Brian Flores has this Minnesota defense playing better than literally I think everybody thought. Like everybody looked at this and was like, there is nobody here besides Danielle Hunter that is like a true NFL starter at this level. And like Brian Flores has them playing super aggressive, playing very downhill. And I think that will be enough. I think it'll be like that Las Vegas game. Well, they'll win 3-0 or like 10-6. Like it'll be a horrible game. But I think if Christian Watson and Jaden Reed play, the Packers should be able to kind of blow this thing open and at least get a few big plays that results in points. And I just don't know if I see that because Jordan Addison and T.J. Hockenson are most likely out for this week. And I just don't know if I see them with just Justin Jefferson really being able to step up and getting those guys in really any scoring position.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go with Minnesota outright. Even if Christian Watson and them do play, I still feel that the Vikings defense will cause a lot of trouble for Jordan Love and that offensive line. It's one of the major things that they look to improve in the offseason for the Packers is that offensive line. And they're honestly, as of right now, prime spot to get one of the top tackles in the league, replace David Bakhtiari. Also, too, on top of that, Nick Mullins is serviceable enough, and I think has enough experience to where he can go and not just rely on Justin Jefferson and his greatness here. I have to see how Jordan Addison and T.J. Hockenson, I agree with you, they're probably not going to play. But also then, I think just him alone, and then with K.J. Osborne as well. And then I think that they will be able to move the ball decently well, running the ball with Alexander Madison and Ty Chandler against this Packers running defense, which it is statistically one of the worst in the league. So I think they're going to be able to make Jordan Love uncomfortable. I also think, especially to your point, if Watson and Reed don't play, that's just a huge loss overall to their skill position players. So I'm just going to go with Minnesota outright, even though
Okay.
I kind of need Watson and Reed to play. So then your pick will change because I need some help in an overall season-long competition.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a close game. These division matchups, even when both teams one team's really good and one's really bad, there's still a big element of why you have no idea what's really going to happen because it's a division team and they see each other twice a year and whatnot. So this is a big playoff implications game. It'll be interesting to kind of see which team comes out ahead. I think it's going to be really close, probably really low scoring. But let's go ahead and wrap this one up. You're going with the Vikings. I have a stipulation on whether I go with the Vikings or the Packers if Christian Watson and Jaden Reed play. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I have a unique goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be very much appreciated. And while you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Green Bay Packers? Will it be the Minnesota Vikings? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.